So hey guys, today we have Tanu and she's having almost 2 years of experience in Java and Spring Boot. So hey, hi Tanu, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
Okay, shall we start?
Yeah,
Okay, can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
yeah. I'm Tanu Kishorwani, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with RSK Business Solution Company.
Okay,
And currently I'm working with one biggest project that is Vistra from in my company, and
okay.
in that basically I'm using Java as a
Mm-hmm.
Java and Bodin as
Mm-hmm.
a front end and Spring Boot. That's all. And apart from this, basically I'm also working with some backend Java backend side that is
Mm-hmm.
basically a REST controller, database, and all. It is basically based on like microservices project. So
Mm-hmm.
divided in some services that is I'm working with most of the services. So
So you are
that's
working on microservice project.
yeah.
Okay, so do we have any advantage of microservice over
Yeah, basically there are lots of advantages over
okay.
monolithic projects, such
Mm-hmm.
as if like there is some
Mm-hmm.
different services, then our project is continuous working. But in some cases, when one services goes down, then
Mm-hmm.
our running project is it also worked.
Okay.
So yeah, but in the monolithic case, if one services is goes down, then all the
Mm-hmm.
our running project will goes down. So I think this is the best way, and this is the best reason that we are using this type of this architecture. So microservices is a good and better in everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
In every case, microservice architecture is better than monolithic.
No, not in every case, but
Okay.
basically microservices is good or best
Mm-hmm.
in that cases, which is
Okay.
very big project, which is very big
Okay.
project, and we have to need different jar files. So
Okay.
in that case, suppose there is e-commerce website and there
Uh-huh.
is some payment gateway is different, and
Mm-hmm.
internal things is working in different, REST
Mm-hmm.
controller is different, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that type of project is always based on microservices architecture.
Okay.
But for a small project, we have to use monolithic. That is also best case. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, mm, moving ahead, uh, do you know that recently, I mean, not recently, but few years back, uh, Amazon Prime, shifted from microservice to monolithic?
Yeah, basically there is some reason I think that
Uh-huh.
in that case, suppose there is a payment system, right? But
Mm-hmm.
due to the payment system, and their services is totally depend on the payment. Basically, when we have to do payment, then
Okay.
we got the prime, you can say,
Mm-hmm.
subscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they have shifted to monolithic because it is in the continuous manner in the queue structure, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this will be good way to follow monolithic in that case. So he have shifted that
Okay.
from microservices to monolithic.
Okay. So have you implemented hash map in any one of your project?
Yeah, hash map I have implemented in one of the cases, like we have to store some key value pair
Mm-hmm.
where we have to need like there is there is a combo box which have
Mm-hmm.
some questions and its respective answer. So
Okay.
in that case, I have used hash map. That question is the of string or string type hash
Okay.
map. So
Mm-hmm.
it is stored in key value pair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference between hash map and tree map, and when would you choose one over the other?
Yeah. Hash map basically it has map basically and how it both are the storing the unique value, but
Mm-hmm.
there is a some. things like in hash map it is stored in the like sequence wise, and it is in the sorted form. And if
Okay.
there is a yeah it is in the having each key pair having its own hash value, so
Mm-hmm.
it is some different from tree. And tree map is basically used where we have to need some some situation
Mm-hmm.
like we have to just give the child classes and there is some sub classes, then in that case we have just implemented the tree has mapped used, I think so.
Okay. What is the time complexity to access any element in this hash map and tree map?
We go after one.
In both.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, in hash map it is we go of one to extract the data or anything, but in
Mm-hmm.
tree map I'm not sure about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think in tree map it's login.
Okay, I will see on it.
Yeah, yeah. So Tanu, before moving on to the next question, do you know that we have designed a complete interview preparation package, structured step by step, containing 16 PDFs? It's basically a one-stop solution to crack any interview. This package covers core Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, scenario-based questions, Spring Security, Spring MVC, Spring Data JPA, microservices, Hibernate, general Java coding question, Stream API coding questions, and many more. The best part is that people have been telling me that they crack their interviews with this material. There is a 99% chance that the interviewers will ask questions from this package. So after this interview, I will share a link with you to get this, and also I'll add in the description of this video. So now moving to our questions. Okay. Could you elaborate uh, the role of Java collection framework in software development?
Basically, Java collections have much and very important role in developer side.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is important in each and every cases. I know there is some already you can build in function, they have provided java provided built-in function, but
Mm-hmm.
behind the built-in function there is some always logical is always
Mm-hmm.
written, you can say algorithm, but the totally algorithm is totally based on java collection. And java
Okay.
collection include like tree map all tree map and linked list, all the
Mm-hmm.
things when we have to store the data in the form of array, linked list,
Mm-hmm.
etc., they all are used. And basically when we have to doing any operation on any type of you can say application, then we have to need some we have to need uh, java collections
Mm-hmm.
framework, so it is very important and highly working with our production side or developer side even.
Okay.
But in
Uh,
production, it is in developer side.
okay. So how do you handle null pointer exception?
Okay, null pointer exception is basically occur when suppose that when we have to making a form, but we have
Mm-hmm.
to submit without filling the data, but it is but there is a validation of using binder, something like
Mm-hmm.
this. But
Okay.
you are clicking the submit button without filling the data, then you have got a null pointer exception.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, we have to remove it by using some validation that
Mm-hmm.
submit button will not click without filling the form. And it is also gotten one case like any numbers divisible by zero, then also giving such type
Okay.
of
So,
exception.
like in our code, while writing our Java code,
Yeah.
or how can we handle this null pointer exception? Or like, what are the best practices?
uh, First thing to handle the this type of exception, we have to using some exception logic like try catch, and by applying this we can handle it.
Okay.
And
So,
second, yeah,
think like we can use null checks.
yeah,
And there is one Java 8 features
Yeah.
we can use for handling null pointer exception. Do you know?
Java 8 features. In
Hmm.
that case, I am not. I have
Uh,
used
you know
some.
about optional class?
Sorry,
Optional class.
sorry, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
So by using optional class is one of the feature of Java 8, and we can use optional class to handle or to avoid the null pointer exceptions. Okay.
optional class. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's a okay, so describe a scenario where you used a priority queue and explain why it was chosen over other types of queues.
Okay, priority queue basically we have to use where I have to given some uh, like uh, giving giving a first in first out type operations, and
Okay.
where I need to give some such type of cases where you can say like
First
mm,
in, first out. So it's a normal queue, I think.
it's a normal queue, but in the case of priority queue, I have to
Okay, so we can use in job scheduling system to
yeah,
prioritize tasks based on their urgency, right?
basically I'm not remembering this.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
no worries. What's the purpose of a static keyword?
static keywords is used where I can only have one instance.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Can static method access instance variables?
static methods can. Sorry,
Can a static method access instance variables?
instance variable.
Hmm.
No, I think no.
Yeah. Static method cannot access instance variable directly because it belongs to the class, not any individual instance. And instance variables are tied to specific instances, so they are not available in a static context without an object reference. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. How does Java support polymorphism in its programming model?
The polymorphism basically we support in the case of one in different type of form, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it is of two working, like first is compile time and
Mm-hmm.
second in runtime polymorphism. compile
Okay.
time Compile time polymorphism, which have basically same method name with different arguments,
Okay.
and in the case of runtime we have same method with the same argument,
Mm-hmm.
where basically they override to others in the case of polymorphism, runtime
Mm-hmm.
polymorphism. So in that
Okay.
case, we have to implement polymorphism.
Okay. Uh, when would you use an interface and when would you use an abstract class?
Abstract class which having only abstract method and
Mm-hmm.
only one abstract method, and
Okay.
in the case of interface uh, we have to implementing their body to the that classes where we have to override that interface, like it has
Okay.
also, yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me a scenario like where can we use interface and where we can use abstract class?
Yes, when abstract classes is used,
Mm-hmm.
when yeah, abstract classes used where basically where where we cannot define the static or default method, but in the case of where we need some method to
Mm-hmm.
implement, then we have to use interface where I have defined static and default only method, not other. public or protected, you can say. Only static
Okay.
and default.
Okay. So do you know the difference between a throwable and an exception?
Throwable and exception, basically, throwable is having a some, basically throwable having a each, it is also type of exception, uh, but you can say it is having a defined some exception, which only like normally used use throw, and we have to define the exception. But in the case of exception handling, that we it is occur inside the method where some specific, without entering in the method, the exception occur, that is throwable, I think. And when there is a
So throwable
exception
is a
occur in the case
superclass
when
of.
there is a exception in the case of working operational on the, and that case, then exception is used basically.
Okay. Okay. So exception is nothing but a subclass of throwable.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. So can you provide an example where you would use a custom unchecked exception?
Custom unchecked exception, I used where, and where we cannot define the like main classes, I think.
Hmm? Come again, I didn't get you.
When I'm not defining the main classes, then it throw the custom error exception, I think. Not properly sure
No,
about
no.
this.
Oh, okay. So in your project, you guys are returning some exceptions, right?
Yeah.
Some are default exceptions, some are
Mhm.
custom exception. Custom
Mhm.
exception means uh, are human-made exceptions, or we made those exception. For example, if I am working on an e-commerce website, if a customer is providing wrong order ID, so I can return invalid order ID. So this is custom exception that is made by me, not in default in Java. So similarly, you guys are also throwing some custom exceptions in your project that are related to your project. Okay, so do you know custom exception names that you guys are using or throwing?
The case of custom exception, like null pointer exception.
No, no, no.
And
Null pointer exception is a default one. That is Java. Null pointer exception is provided by Java only. Custom means what we make. Our we
my
make
own
some, yeah, errors.
errors exceptions, all the unchecked exception, that
So
is
let's say you are working for on which project?
there is a Vista my formation project.
What it I mean, what's the purpose of this project? I mean,
Basically, this is a purpose for managing the file and PDFs and such type of things, like
okay,
giving the
okay, managing PDF.
yeah.
Okay, so let's say if a user is trying to access a PDF that doesn't exist,
Mm.
then we can create a custom error like uh, PDF doesn't exist, or PDF is not fine. We didn't find PDF, something like that. We can create some error, custom error. So that type of error, I was, I mean, interested to know custom errors. Okay. Okay. Anyways, moving ahead. Mm, why are the hash code and equal methods important in Java?
Hashcode, and basically I'm not using this, but in some cases, when we have to making like Ojo classes, then we
Okay.
are using it in the case of knowing the hash value of the object that it
Mm-hmm.
is already created, or for checking such type of things, then using as.
Okay. Uh, okay. So, mm, okay. how will you implement, I mean, will you be able to implement these methods in a class that represents a book with attributes like title and author?
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah.
Okay, how?
uh, when we are creating like author title and something like, then
Mm-hmm.
in normally we have to creating a class where I've given the type and name of the title, like name, author, title, and
Mm-hmm.
description, and above the method we have to just write some annotations like what
Okay,
type what things I need to implement, like we have to make table, then entity and something like this.
okay. So do you know about threading?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you brief on this?
yeah. Basically, threading or multi-threading we are talking about.
Simple threads.
Acha, normally threads. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
basically normal threads are such type of thing uh, where start from main method and it is
Mm-hmm.
working smoothly, that having its own method of that is run method, and main method is also one type of thread.
Okay. How would you ensure that a shared resource is accessed safely by multiple threads?
uh in that case can you repeat it please?
How would you ensure that a shared resource is accessed safely by multiple threads?
um Basically, when one thread is running, then it it depend on our code that what type of things I have provided, like wait and notify something like this, then it will come
Mm-hmm.
behind one thread behind every new thread, like one thread,
Mm-hmm.
another thread, and third thread. But
Mm-hmm.
in the case like we have to provide like some extra like methods like notify and wait something like this, then it will wait. Otherwise it will become in the in it will be go through in one direction as
Mm-hmm.
running into the same method,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they need to run that method, like run method or anything, but it will go in the same way. And but sometime we have to need synchronized to
Mm-hmm.
handle the some type of error or
Okay.
something like this. So yeah,
Okay. So yeah, moving ahead, how Spring Boot enhances the development of Spring application?
Spring Boot helps much more in development side, like it provide lots of built-in
Mm-hmm.
things that helps the developer to make the work very easy manner.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there is no need to integrate the jar file into the something
Mm-hmm.
like this. We have just
Mm-hmm.
adding the dependency and it automatically work. So it help to developer to work very easily and to more efficient way. So I think this is the Spring Boot is very good thing that I need to use, you can say.
Okay. Uh, okay. So is Spring Boot mandatory in
Not
order to
mandatory, but
no, no, I mean, can we create a project through Spring framework, only Spring, without using Spring Boot?
yeah, we can create without using Spring Boot.
Have you
But in the
created?
just one very small project I have created, but
How did you create a server?
uh, in the case of server, I was used Apache Tomcat. So just integrate the firstly we have to integrate all the dependency system, like
Mm-hmm.
something like this. And in the configuration file we have to write each and every code of beans code in
Okay.
that file. Yeah, there's lots of
Mm-hmm.
things. But due to the Spring Boot project, there's very big thing that it can manage each and everything by own self.
Okay.
Very good
Uh,
advantages.
okay. So moving ahead, how would you implement security for a REST API?
Okay, basically, I have used two security, like
Mm-hmm.
some one basic and
Mm-hmm.
second is authentic. Second is OAuth authentication.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
and JWT also used.
Mm-hmm.
So first basic in basic
So
authentication. Sorry.
okay. So do you know about the authorization token? Uh,
Yes.
what is this thing?
Yeah, basically when I'm using JWT, then
Mm-hmm.
we have to just receive one token, and that token we can when I have just implemented all the things in the rest in the controller in the services and
Mm-hmm.
token generated something like this method. Then
Mm-hmm.
when I hit the controller, then we got the one token, and that token you can use anywhere in other services too. That you can get the information uh, whatever is stored in that token in the encrypted form, and
Mm-hmm.
you can store the data, and it has also some expiration time that you cannot access the data from that token in each and every time, but after the expiration time it will be expired. But yeah, so this is very useful case in the security
Okay.
purpose.
And what's the difference between authentication and authorization?
Yeah, authentication and authorization. First thing, authentication is basically just check your identity that you are able to enter in that, you can say enter in that scenario or not. But
Mm-hmm.
authorization is you have authority to do that work, whatever admin is allowed to you. There's
Okay.
some two different, yeah.
Okay. So can you explain what AOP is in the context of Spring?
Yeah, AOP basically worked basically used for logging purpose, which is used to maintain the logging files. In the case of you, even you want to store that logging
Mm-hmm.
things into the database or anything log for the log purpose basically. So when I have implementing the AOP in our project basically,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to just making one database where I just stored the all the information where user click on that button and just enter the login page, just enter the home page, and all the steps whatever user doing in that application is stored in our database. That is done by
Mm-hmm.
our AOP. That is the purpose of AOP where I have to implement it. And you can say you want AOP means want to execute one method before running the method without running the method in writing it above the code.
Okay.
Yep.
Why is it essential to mark some service method as transitional annotation? Transactional annotation.
Transactional annotation in what services class?
We just mark some method as transactional annotation, right?
Transactional, sorry, transactional, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So why we do that?
I think I'm not remember this, but I think it is used to handle between the transactional and controller, but I'm not sure about the transactional at the rate.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, this annotation ensures that all the involved database operations either complete successfully or roll back together altogether. That this maintains the data integrity and consistency.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So moving ahead, do you prefer using XML or annotations for configuration in Spring applications and why?
In this, sorry, in the Spring Boot, I have used annotations. That is the
No, 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 I'm asking which one would you prefer, XML or annotations?
I will prefer annotations
Why?
because because of one. main and basic, you can say that it configures its all the backside by its own, and in the configuration side I have also doing the such type of things. But when I configure the scenario that how to connect that file into that file, like services class, controller class, there is some mismatch. Due to the mismatch they have throwing lots of error, and it is very complicated, you can say very easiest manner that we have when we are using annotation. It is very easiest thing that configured by itself in the backside. There's no need to configure in the configuration.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. So, do you know the service-oriented architecture? I mean, what's the meaning of service-oriented architecture?
Service oriented architecture, sorry, I don't know.
Okay. So it's a style of software design where services are provided to other components by application component through a communication protocol over a network. The services are loosely coupled units of functionality that are reusable. Okay. Okay. So as you said, you are working on microservice project. What are some challenges you have faced while working with microservices?
Now recently, basically the challenges when we are working in any project, there are lots of challenges we are facing.
Mm-hmm.
But to overcome this, like first challenges, like sometime when services goes down of one thing, then we cannot integrate any type of operation that we required in the front end side, or you can say back end side. So
Mm-hmm.
so to resolve this type of problem, we have to you have to waiting for that time that it will goes in better way. And second thing that when there is a some case like sometime they are like two services want to communicate with each other, then we have to waiting for that time that it both should be work properly, that give the response in such give the response and no need to be waited and some type of thing. Then some challenges are facing when we are working on microservices project.
Okay. Are you familiar with any tools for monitoring the health and performance of microservices?
No, sorry.
Okay. Okay. So, how would you handle a situation where you need to roll back a commit that has been pushed to a remote Git repository?
How to handle?
How would you handle a situation? I mean, what would you do when you need to roll back a commit that has been pushed to remote Git repository? I mean, how would you roll back that?
Uh, Basically, when I commit the some code, or you can say push our code into the our branch, you can say, then sometime there's some issue has been created in our code to, you can say, in in client based type of performance, in client based type of user story I will not understand, and some there's some mistake whatever
Mm-hmm.
I have done. Then we uh, just re- we just roll back our code that
So how do you roll back? What are the git commands to roll back, or do you use some Eclipse? Oh, sorry, tools, things.
in the git bash, I think I have command was, I think command was not remembered right now.
Okay, git revert.
It revert.
Yeah. Okay, so moving ahead, what's the importance of mock objects in unit testing?
Sorry, I'm not work with
So
testing.
you haven't worked on JUnit test cases?
No.
Okay. How do you maintain and improve the quality of your code?
Uh, right now, basically, there is a already defined the things that what type of algorithm we have to using, and
Hmm.
sometime debug the code, and sometime the error whatever I have faced or done by the testing by the tester group. So they have
Mhm.
giving the scenario what type of error are working with. Then we debug the code and just try to find the best way to resolve that issue.
Okay. Okay. So I will share you code snippets. Okay. In this chat box.
Okay.
And first you have to share your screen and open any uh, text editor like Notepad, and you have to paste that snippet into your Notepad, and you have to give the correct output. Yes. Are you sharing?
Just
Okay.
yeah, is it?
Yes, yes, I can see. Open any editor, text editor, open Notepad.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just pasted here first code snippet. Just copy from the chat box and uh, paste it here.
Yeah.
That's what would be the output of this code.
Done. I think first will be true,
Okay.
and the second will be S1 equal to S3. I don't know what is intern method basically do. I've never heard about.
Okay. Okay, so I will tell you the correct answer in the end.
Yeah.
The second question is I'm just going to paste it. Yes, I pasted.
Should give error, I think.
Why?
Because if we are giving the, if we store the object, then we need to define it.
No,
Basically,
it will not give an error.
um,
Okay. So after this meeting, uh, try to run this code snippet in your code
yes,
editor, and you can check the correct output. Okay. This is your homework.
okay.
Okay. You can unshare the screen now. Okay. Your face is not clear. Okay. So yes, Tanu, it's done from my end.